FAFO farmers in Arkansas and Kentucky. Not all farmers voted for Donald Trump, I want to make that clear, but most farmers did. And most of them did it out of hatred and bigotry and a small town mentality, just a small-minded mentality. Donald Trump's tariffs are putting farmers out of business. J.D. Vance's company, Acre Traders, is buying up that farmland, or his company has big investments in, is buying up that farmland and making him rich. Why do you think he does what he does? He wants to be a billionaire like Trump. He's one of the most cynical guys in the world. J.D. Vance is a piece of shit, just like Donald Trump. And until farmers and rural people in America realize that, they are going to get played, and they are getting played. Thanks for watching the Spin Cycle again, guys. I love to see more and more viewers watching. The channel's picking up some steam, so go ahead and share it with your friends. Subscribe, comment. Been getting outstanding comments lately. I love it. The reason I started this channel was because I'm just a regular guy, and there's just too many people in this country that are following Theo Von and Joe Rogan who aren't regular guys. Those are guys who were born well off. Yes, even Joe Rogan, they were born well off. Theo Von comes from like European aristocracy. My friends that I grew up with, they're like, oh, have you watched Theo Von? This is before the election. I love Theo Von. How great is he? He's just a regular guy. He's not a regular guy. He was born rich. He's cynical. He made tons of money off of promoting Trump and all that garbage. I'm going to cover that more on some videos in the future. I'm going to do a Joe Rogan video later today. Joe Rogan is actually starting to see the light now, I think, and so's Theo Von. But, you know, it's attrition at this point, because I fully believe those guys and that manosphere, Andrew Schultz, all those guys are responsible for getting Trump over the edge. Yeah, I mean, farmers were probably going to vote for him anyway, but they brought in the young men, young white men who feel like they got it so bad right now, and they do, but everybody has it bad, not just young white men. The big thing with young white men in this country is, for decades now, women have been surpassing them in the job market, and women are making more money, and the jobs that young white men used to get, and young men in general, I mean young black men and young Latino men also went for Trump, but young men in general just don't pay well anymore. Plumbers, yeah, you could make good money plumbing, but the problem with plumbers and mechanics and stuff, women who have PhDs and are working as scholars and finance and all this stuff, they're not gonna they won't marry down to, or very rarely they'll marry down a mechanic or a plumber, or someone like me who works for the federal government for $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Anyway, guys, that was long-winded. Thanks for all the support for the Spin Cycle, but here's another bunch of videos of farmers finding out, fucking around. It's hard to feel sorry for the farmers, because they saw what Trump did the first round, his first go around. They got bailed out. I think that's why they were like, oh, we'll get bailed out again. And they probably are going to get bailed out again. But, that's welfare. They're the ones who are, whining about the welfare queens in the cities, single mothers, often single mothers of color who get, you don't even get welfare checks anymore. Like when I was a kid, my deadbeat dad left when I was 2 years old, left my mom with 3 kids, 1, 2, and 3 years old, and then 2 stepchildren, and she was on her own. But back then, welfare, you'd actually get a cash check, and she worked, but one woman working as a bookkeeper is what she did at the time, cannot support 5 kids and a household and all that stuff. But these farmers, they're happy to take the welfare. I know they keep saying, we'll see in these videos, They're saying they don't want the welfare. They want China to buy their soybeans, but Trump is fucked with China too much. China is saying, okay, you want to play with us? We know that your base is the farmers, a big part of your base. So we're not going to buy any stuff from you. We're just going to go to Brazil and Argentina and these South American countries that have come online with big farming operations, and we're just going to buy from them, and it's going to be cheaper, and it's going to screw Trump and his base, and that's what's happening. And the thing is, with these soybean contracts and stuff, once you lose them, what incentive does China have to ever buy soybeans again in the U.S.? If they do, it's going to take a long time. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching the Spin Cycle. Sorry for the long-winded rant, but I'll play these videos uninterrupted, and you could just enjoy, sadistically watching the farmers cry. Or, this first one is a woman who, her family owned a farm for, I think, 6 generations, and now they're out of the farming business. So enjoy the videos. Thanks for watching the Spin Cycle.
I'm a 6th-generation farmer from Newport, Arkansas. I grew up farming next to my parents, who are here today. I have, in their retirement for the past 10 years, been the primary operator of our farm, which is 2,000 acres of soybeans, corn, rice, and wheat. But what I should say today is that I used to be a 6th-generation farmer. In February, we made the decision to close our farm. We joined many other farming families making this heartbreaking choice to avoid significant financial strain, financial hardship before it was too late. Many more families like mine will make similarly hard choices this month, in the next few weeks. The ag economy is the worst it has been since the farm crisis of 1980, when the U.S. lost 1 in every 4 farms. And that's because the price we're paying for the crop we produce is so low, and the cost to produce that crop is so high that not a single commodity crop in Arkansas is profitable for farmers. Because agriculture is such an important economic driver in the United States, and because food production is a national security issue, the government steps in tough times to help farmers. Yesterday, I watched strangers pull away my tillage equipment. They drove my tractors away like combines. They loaded my power units and my fuel tanks onto trailers. Today, as I stand here, people are picking up the very last pieces of 6 generations of farming. And the people that we elected to protect us are eating a ballroom at $7,000 a plate. I don't care whether you have an R or a D next to your name. I have no use for politicians that play dress up in cowboy boots and say they care about farmers and then do nothing in our hour of need. I don't necessarily have an ask for the people here, but I think y'all should know what's happening in farm country in Arkansas. Vote them out! And I thank you all for listening.
Thompson say if a deal isn't struck to remove the tariffs, all these months, even years of hard work will be fruitless.
The best way I explain to somebody, it's like living in a household and your paycheck gets cut maybe by a third or by half. So that's what we're facing right now. Okay, this is a soybean crop right here. It's going to be ready to harvest in a couple of weeks.
Farmers like Aaron Thompson say if a deal isn't struck to remove the tariffs, all these months, even years of hard work will be fruitless.
The best way I explain to somebody, it's like living in...
Escalating trade tensions could make it harder to sell their products abroad. Escalating trade tensions could make it harder to sell their products abroad.
It may be a little bit of an adjustment period. For a little while going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit.
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
It's not good for anybody.
Right now, we're kind of being shut out of some of our best markets.
Trying to stretch the dollar out a little longer.
This is probably as bad as we've seen it in well over a decade.
We'll figure out how to get money to the farmers. And we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers.
We would a lot rather have free markets than a handout.
The American farmer, especially myself included, is we don't want aid payments. We want to work. You know, we work the land, we harvest the land, the crop off the land, and the worst thing that we could ever want is a handout.
The tariffs, remember when I said a long time ago, I said it's the greatest word, it's my favorite word in the world.
The president's tariffs are putting farmers out of business.
We'll lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here, it's everywhere.
If they don't do something, there's going to be some farmers that ain't going to be around next year.
Love, family, religion. So I think I put tariff number 5.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
Nothing's moving. Nothing's moving.
It's 1 out of every 3 farms going out of business right now.
We're doing well because of tariffs. We're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever have made.
Trump spends a lot of time talking about how tariffs are going to make us rich. Well, I don't think we should talk about anyone getting rich before we make sure farmers don't go broke.
I speak to farmers. I say, would you like to live in my penthouse in Manhattan? It's always beautiful. No, sir, I want this farm.
Farm foreclosures are on the rise. Farm suicides are on the rise. Farm bankruptcies are on the rise.
To our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too.
He's mentioned many times that he loves farmers. Right now we need to see swift action, or we're going to lose a lot of these farmers that the president loves. We want to deliver the message to President Trump and his leadership team that we need trade.
And we need answers from the administration on what they can do to help America's farmers now.
The president's betting the farm on tariffs, but he's not betting his farm.
Have a lot of fun. I love you too.
Here, Case, Caterpillar, all that stuff is outsourced overseas. And the guy that pays it is the guy that purchases it. I can buy a bearing for a combine, and it's made in Taiwan, or who knows where. Parts have over doubled in the last year, if you can get them. The dealer at Marshall has a backlog for almost 4 months because they can't get parts because of Trump's stupid tariffs. I think agriculture has taken a heck of a hit on a lot of misinformation, and he is not helping the farmer. I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red. When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals? And the tariffs. More so the tariffs than the trade.
I'm never going to do anything to hurt our farmers. The One Big Beautiful Bill will also be an incredible victory for American farmers, another group that we did great with, especially family farmers.
Never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Right now, we're at a 20% price disadvantage to the tariffs and the trade war to our counterparts in South America, and that just makes us uncompetitive and makes us lose the market, and we need a change, and we need it now.
China imports 61% of the global soybean supply, Caleb. If China doesn't start buying again from the U.S., tell me what's going to happen to you. Tell me what's going to happen to our economy.
We as American soybean farmers have a lot invested in infrastructure and the way we raise our crops, our crop rotations, and it's not something we can simply just jump around and dabble in one crop one year and something else the next. We have long-term processes that are in place, and American soybean farmers are really good at producing soybeans. What we need is strong markets and opportunity. China is our biggest export customer. Soybeans are the largest agriculture product that's exported. Many farmers, such as myself, have no other income other than our farms. And suddenly, when your biggest customer just disappears, that's a dire circumstance. What we need is trade and opportunity. Right now, we're at a 20% price disadvantage to the tariffs and the trade war to our counterparts in South America, and that just makes us uncompetitive and makes us lose the market, and we need a change, and we need it now.
And so especially Central Kentucky right now is really getting what I call the double whammy in the fact that they're not going to have great yields, but additionally the prices aren't there as well.
Input costs like fertilizer are high, grain costs are low, and heavy rain in the spring followed by drought threatens soybean yields. There's only one thing that could make it all worse, and that's a trade war, which is exactly what's happened in retaliation for the Trump administration's tariffs on Chinese goods.
Well, since that has happened, China's pushed back and said, well, we can source our beans from elsewhere.
Last year, the U.S. exported nearly $24.5 billion worth of soybeans, and China accounted for more than $12.5 billion of that.
If no one bends, China doesn't buy any soybeans, I mean, this harvest, where do they all go?
And so what would happen is that soybean product would be backed up in the United States.
As for the farmers caught in the middle, Gardner says hopefully they have a diversified farm with other commodities to rely on this year. Otherwise,
I think, best case scenario is break even, and then from there it's all downhill.
The crisis point that is approaching for Trump, the pressure point that's approaching is we are now at the end of all the contract periods for most agriculture products for the year. They are sitting in silos, costing farmers money or rotting. They are about to have a catastrophic collapse in the agriculture markets across the country.
Scary stuff.
Scary, bad stuff. And if for folks who don't get this, there will also be an almost instantaneous ripple effect out on property markets. There'll be a ripple effect out on heavy industrial products. There'll be a ripple effect out on car and truck sales. And all of it will bind together into one big thing. And there is no one, and this polling is sort of consonant with that, there is no one who thinks, oh, the Democrats caused the tariffs.
Nope.
Trump owned them, branded them as his own. I love the tariffs. I love
Congressional Republicans gave him,
that's
a
right,
blank check to do whatever he wanted with tariffs.
That is
so
correct.
This issue can only hurt Republicans and Trump.
Okay, guys, that last one was Rick Wilson and his son, who is a pollster. They're Republicans, by the way, or former Republicans. They're in nowhere land now. I guess they're Democrats. I don't know, but they were Republicans before Trump. Rick Wilson is behind the Lincoln Project. He's always making those great commercials about Trump, and they make those commercials to bother Trump specifically, because they make the commercials for one viewer of Trump, because they know that his ego is so fragile and he's such a broken person that one commercial will make him go nuts. But anyway, those soybean farmers, they voted for this to happen to other people, and it's happening to them, and now they're crying about it. Let me know in the comments if you feel sorry for them. I do have a little sympathy for them. I live in rural America, but at the same time, every farmer in America at this point is a millionaire. They're a millionaire in the land they own, the $90,000 trucks they drive around, all the equipment they own. They might not be cash rich. Like, I know ranchers that own water rights that are worth millions of dollars out west in Colorado. And they inherited this. 9 times out of 10, they inherited it. They didn't work hard, buy a farm. But they're still going to whine. I mean, you see these guys, they're not working hard physically. I mean, were any of them skinny? No. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching The Spin Cycle. I know this has been a long video, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, what the fuck is this, Betty?
This is the painting you asked for, sir.
Why is my dick so small?
But that's the size it is in the photo.